Well, why is government so crooked? At the very least, government can be petty, then it gets expensive, but it always goes into crooked. You can look at government on a small scale, at least I got an example of that. My wife and I bought a house down in Woodbridge, Virginia. People call it Hoodbridge, not a great place, but a little homeowner association. And we've been in there for, a month or two, get a knock on the door. Lady says she's on the board of the homeowner association, and she's petitioning because there's a one of the members is such a pain, and he just disrupts the meetings and a lot of, well, I know how that can be. People get in these meetings and they want to play parliament, point of order and point of information, and it stops the whole thing from going forward. But I said, look, I'll sign your little thing here, but I'm going to find out what's going on, and if what you're telling me is not the truth, I haunt your grave. Because I was busy doing stuff, I signed it. But then I went and I found the guy they were trying to remove, this guy Warren. Turns out he was 100% correct. These board members were crooks. They had exempted themselves from paying the association fees while cracking down on everybody else and being arbitrary and petty about things. Homeowner associations can be. They want to tell you the color of your house and all that. And I'm more or less a fair libertarian kind of guy. So that it burned me up that because they removed the guy from the board. So I and I guess three other people formed like an alliance and ran for the board. And at the end of the day, I wanted to become the president of the association. And all I said was, I'm just going to be open about everything and let you tell you what's going on. But the reality was the association was broke. They had no money, been squandered. And what happens is these board members would get on the board. Next thing you know, their brother-in-law wanted to provide some service for them or do something or other. But, then there was backdoor things going on, like the company that built the bridge across the little creek also put in a patio, concrete patio in the back of the old president's yard. That kind of stuff goes on. A little, you, you take care of me, I'll take care of you. And in fact, when I got in there immediately, there was a guy I knew. He was a property manager, and he went right in there and come on, Tom, and work with me. I'll. And I was like, you can't compete with what we're doing. We're doing it for free. And we had a guy. He's dead now, Tom, but he was the treasurer, and I was the president. Had another guy. He was the secretary, and we had about a 6 month process to run these guys on the old board out of there and really out of the neighborhood. They left, except for one guy who was a Fairfax cop, uh, opposed me vehemently because they didn't know what we were doing. They just want to leave it up to the experts and pay all the money and forget about it. Well, no, I fired everybody but the trash company that was doing a good job for the money. I was just like Trump. I went and fired everybody and started anew. And in many things we did ourselves. We bought ourselves a tractor with a mower on it and a snowplow thing and all that kind of stuff and did it all. Well, guess what? Besides saving $30,000 for buying this $15,000 tractor, because we had to do the cutting, but so what? I and several other people, we just cut the association's 10 acres, and that was that. We saved all that money. But even more important than that, this is in the early 90s when there was a huge snowstorm there, and it paralyzed Washington, D.C. Well, there was one place it wasn't paralyzed. It was Willowbrook, where we had that tractor with a snowplow. When I'd come in, I'd put a chain. After that, the association member would dig a hole out to their rear axle, hook it, bring it back to the tractor. I'd drag their car out of the parking space. Then I'd push the snow up into their parking space all the way to the back. And we had a wall of snow all along the entire parking lot, but everybody could get in and out. Couldn't go very far, but they could get in and out from Willowbrook, including this Fairfax cop who came back one day after opposing me and just handed me a letter, and it was like a commendation about from what I was doing. And then the next year they had the elections, and I'd been involved with rewriting the rules so you could remove people and board members who weren't doing the right thing. And they also, the big press raised the tax. I wouldn't do it. For the whole time I was there, I refused to raise the association fees. In the history of that neighborhood, there's only been 3 years where the association fees were never raised. That was when I was the president. And the second year, the people there reelected me unanimously. I'm serious. Of course, I was cutting all their grass and doing. There'd be the old lady there, the little Indian lady there, has a little teeny yard. I just, I'd come in and mow her lawn with the tractor. Just take me, what, a minute, 30 seconds, and it was done. And there she's a 65-year-old lady. And that's the kind of stuff you can do when you're doing something on a local level like that. But the point is, we did it all ourselves, saved a lot of money, and people loved it. And in that first year, then the old board and the old guard, they were, there was lawyers, and we were in the newspaper of Revolt, Willowbrook Revolt. But it turned around pretty good. And then the third year, they reelected me again as president. And they were happy with the way things were going. We were saving money. The association was back on its feet. And then finally, the next year, I said, no, I'm not going to be the president anymore. I'm not going to do it anymore. I believe in term limits. And so that they said, okay, well, they got my wife to be the president. And she was the president for a couple of more years. And then, I'll be the vice president. I'm out of here. But then it kind of things started going back to stupid again. The 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 new president tries to tell us that our fence in the back I just built was not in compliance with the rules because it's supposed to be approximately 6'4" was, and ours was like 6'5". That's an approximate area. And fortunately, Denny was still on the board and could use the lawyer, and the lawyer came back to us and said, "No, Cortez, that's what approximately means." He was trying to say that no, approximately means less than. So like they it was going back to being petty, and well, the thing was, as soon as I got in there and started doing this stuff, the county government started coming down on me, and next thing you know, I'm having bi-yearly interviews by social services and asking me the stupidest questions you could ever imagine in your life. The last time they came by was about my oldest son had told his teacher that Godzilla was after him, so he ran into the to my shed and locked himself in, and it came down and cried, and he was okay. But he was watching that stupid Godzilla movie over and over again. But she turned that into, I'm locking him and the neighborhood children in my shed, in my tool shed. And I come home and there's a cop and a couple of cops and a social worker in there, and I'd already tipped off why they were there. I couldn't believe it. So after a little bit of small talk, he said, "Well, I guess you know why we're here." And I said, "Yeah, I do." And I'm the former president of this association, and that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. Come on out here. And I took him out to the backyard. I had my son Matthew with me, my middle son, and I unlocked the shed. I said, "Matt, get in the shed." He got in the shed, and they're all watching me doing this stuff. I went and put the one door back, put the rod down into the ground, closed the other door, put the latch on it, and put the lock, locked it shut. I said, "Okay, Matt." Doors come swinging open. Well, why? Because if you're on the inside of a shed like that, you pull that pole up out of the ground that's holding that door down, and then the shed just comes, that little thing on it doesn't do anything, just opens right up. So I looked back and said, "You see, you can't lock a child in my shed." And these people look like, well, don't we look stupid? And I kept them there for another hour or two, talking to them, talking. Well, I wouldn't let them go, and so they never came back after that. But we really we really fled Virginia. We wanted out of there because I'm afraid, This is back at the time when the Nazi thing, where they were taking away kids from their parents because they said they were having sex with giraffes and stuff. I mean, you know, these people were out there. At the same time, got to realize my uh, supervisor, county supervisor, her husband was tried and convicted for pedophilia. She's still married to him. He's still there. He finally got out, after he just did his time, or I don't know. So that's the kind of people I was dealing with, and all I was trying to do was help, which I did. But wound up, having to leave Virginia. They didn't like anybody stepping on their little turf. That's government for you. That's what Trump's going through.